It is a relatively quiet night out there. We are tracking just a few showers here and there. Of course, it is a big night here in Atlanta for the MLB All-Star Game taking place at Truist Park right now. I was out there earlier at 4, 5, and 6 o'clock on the Battery reporting live, and we had a little shower that came through, and that was just about it. A little shower with just some sprinkles really that came through the area from a storm that was developing just to the east of Truist Park, and then it kind of flared up and then rained itself out. So even though there are a few of those showers here and there out there, nothing has been falling over Truist Park during the game, and we really don't expect anything out there for the rest of the evening hours at Truist. But there are a couple of spots where we do have just a few little showers here and there. We did have a few more showers earlier today that were stronger. In fact, we even had a severe thunderstorm warning out over Lake Oconee earlier today with some thunderstorms that developed there over in parts of those areas of Putnam County, Morgan County, and also a little bit of Newton County. But those all died out. Then we had a couple of other isolated cells that developed in parts of Bartow County, Paulding County, Northwest Cobb there. And now you can see, we'll get in a little bit tighter. And what you're seeing on the south side here, these are false echoes that we often see here at this time of night. But look at these little cells that we have in Paulding County there in western Paulding, and another one there in northern Paulding County, where we have just a couple of little isolated showers there. Another one here in Bartow County. You can kind of see this up here, right just to the north of 75 there. Here's Cartersville, Pine Log, right up here along 411, where we have just this lone cell that has developed there as well. So really, that's just about all we're seeing. A few other little areas that we're keeping an eye on. This is a 6-hour loop that shows some of those showers that we had on the east side earlier in East DeKalb County. Some of those popping up in areas of Gwinnett County, also up near Athens. Up into Gainesville, we had some heavier showers earlier up in Canton. And what's interesting is when you can see these here that were over in East Georgia, in eastern metro area, look at that, that outflow boundary that developed from that. And that helped to trigger some other showers here. These on the west side, then these over in Paulding County. So those outflow boundaries sometimes act as like mini cold fronts to help to kind of add some lift to the atmosphere, and it'll kick up a couple of other showers too. So along that line, watch it again. See that green line going there? And as that moved over toward the west, that's where we saw some other showers like these here generating there in Paulding County and parts of Douglas County. So it's always interesting to watch the dynamics of these weather systems, especially when we're dealing with the heat and humidity that we had out there for today. Now, the other thing that we're watching is down into the Gulf. And this is a system that we've been tracking. We've really been telling you about this for about a week and a half, that we were going to be monitoring the Gulf to see if we could see any type of system that could develop there. And now we are watching one that has the potential for development. If you'll remember yesterday, the system really was over here in the Atlantic. It is crossing over the Florida Peninsula now, and you can kind of see here the convection along with that. We don't really have a tight closed area of low pressure or anything right now, but what's going to happen is that the center of this is going to move out over the warm Gulf waters, and as it does, that's where we expect that we could see some development of this system. So you can see some of that convection that we're dealing with there in the Gulf. So here's what we're watching. The center of that potential circulation is over land right now. So that's why it's not really developing that much. It's kind of interacting with the landmass instead of being over the water. But what we think is going to happen, and the National Hurricane Center just updated this a little bit more than an hour ago, showing this color here in orange, which is pretty much along a big part of the Gulf Coast here, where there's a 40% chance of development over the next 2 to 7 days. Both of those, the 2 and the 7-day outlook, is about a 40% chance of development, maybe becoming a tropical depression or potentially becoming a tropical storm. And if it does become a tropical storm, it would get a name, and the next name on the list is Dexter. So we just think it's going to be moving over toward the west and kind of drifting here. And because it is a little bit close to land, it may kind of have a hard time developing somewhat, rather than if it was out over the open water. So what we think is going to happen with this, again, there's the potential that it could become a tropical depression or a tropical storm. But depending on how it grows and where it goes, that'll determine how strong it could potentially get. If it hangs out over the water for a while, it could get a little bit stronger. But if it's kind of hugging the coastline, it's just going to most likely just, become this little area of low pressure and then maybe move northward into Louisiana and then back up toward the north and east there, maybe through Memphis and on up into Tennessee and Kentucky. And of course, even with any remnants there, with us being on the right-hand side, we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go into the weekend, just to make sure it doesn't cause any type of mischief for us. So that's what we're going to be watching here with that system. And so the wind impacts aren't really that impressive with it. The thing that we're feeling a little more confident about, though, is the potential for a lot of rain along the Gulf Coast. Now, what we're seeing, yesterday we were showing you a lot of oranges and reds here on the west coast of Florida. But now that this is pulling away, it's going to start kind of lessening the rain threats there from the western coast of Florida here in central and south Florida. But as it moves along the panhandle, and then especially into South Alabama, Mississippi, and on up into Louisiana, it's those areas where we think we're going to have the highest rainfall amounts. And we see those reds and oranges again, 3 to 5 inches of rain possible along that track as it moves up over the next 7 days. So that's the main thing that we have to watch here with this, and also just watch the rainfall amounts and any type of wind impacts depending on how strong this system gets as it continues moving there along the Gulf Coast region. Here's what else we're going to be watching. Here in Atlanta, we are going to see some rain here, just general rain, nothing really enhanced by that tropical system, but we will see some rain showers here, maybe a ½ inch or so, depending on which areas pick up on some of these heavier rain showers that pop up here in our area. So a lot to watch here with this. Now today, we got up to 96 degrees for a high temperature, another really hot day. Our low this morning, 78. That's a really warm way to start the morning with a low of 78. We should be around 72 for this time of year for our average low. The average high is 90. So at 96, we were 6 degrees above the average. The record for today's date, 100 degrees, that was set in 1995, and the record low, 53. Wouldn't that be nice? Could you imagine waking up in the morning and it's 53 degrees outside? We also didn't pick up any rain officially at Hartsfield-Jackson today, even though I know a lot of people did get some rain. So our rainfall deficit is growing. We're now more than 3/4 of an inch below where we should be in rainfall for the year. So here's a look at those temperatures where we started off at that mild 78 degrees and then topping off this afternoon at 96. I know you're seeing these hourlies here at 94, 95, but we did hit 96 there. And even though we had a few little showers here and there, nothing really was on top of Hartsfield, but there were a few showers close enough that we dropped from 92 at 5 to 88 at 6. And then we've pretty much been holding in the 80s for the rest of the evening hours, but it's still kind of muggy out there too. Take a look at these temperatures. We're in the 80s now at 83. Now, where we did see a better coverage of rain, that's where we have some cooler air. Covington is 75, Peachtree City 76, Thomaston 77 degrees. We have 79 in Gainesville and 70s up in the mountains of North Georgia, but everywhere else is generally in the 80s, even upper 80s now still in Rome at 88 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we expect to get down into the mid 70s and then warming quickly. Once again, during the day by 1 o'clock, we'll be at about 86 degrees, getting up to about 92 in the afternoon. So maybe just a little bit lower temperatures here during the day tomorrow, and our rain chances start to come down a little bit too. We'll have about a 20% chance for an isolated shower here for tomorrow. So tonight, again, any of these isolated showers that are out there, they're going to be falling apart for the late night hours tonight. Tomorrow morning, it will be dry. We have a bit of an easterly flow here, and then more of a southeasterly flow around lunchtime tomorrow. And then during the afternoon, look at this, we're not really seeing much popping up here at all, just a 20% chance for an isolated shower. On Thursday, the flow becomes a little more southerly. Again, in the lunchtime hour, we're dry. In the afternoon, just a couple little isolated pop-up showers here and there. Not a 0% chance for showers, but also not a huge chance for rain out there either. Then on Friday, more of a southwesterly flow, and we will see a couple of showers picking up here. And what we're going to have to watch is the development of that potential system in the Gulf and whether or not, as it moves westward, if any flow with that is going to be able to enhance the Gulf moisture moving into our area and increase our rain chances. But as of right now, we really think the bulk of that tropical moisture is going to stay along the coast. So look at these oranges and reds that you're seeing here. That's very moist air, tropical moisture there down into Florida as that center there of that area that we're watching begins to move over toward the west. So that's going to keep most of that deep tropical moisture in the Gulf as well as along the Gulf Coast region. The Panhandle, there you see it going over toward Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. We're just going to have a lot of humidity around here with the heating kicking up just a few of those isolated or scattered showers. What we're going to have to watch, though, is as that system potentially goes in around Louisiana, bringing them a lot of rain, then it'll start moving up toward the north and maybe the northeast, and then we'll have to see if that tropical moisture will be fed into our area going into the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Right now, we do bring the chances up for rain a little bit to 40% here on into Friday and into Saturday, but we'll have to watch this closely, all depending on, number one, the strength of that system and where it goes and just how much moisture, tropical moisture, it's able to pull up into our area going into the weekend. So that's the iffy part of the forecast into the weekend, all based on what happens with this potential tropical system. It may not even be strong enough to even generate any of that tropical moisture our way. So this is how it stands right now with our rain chances. 20% chance Wednesday, 30% chance on Thursday, 40% chance Friday, then back to 30% Saturday and 20% on Sunday. But again, this is the iffy part here, depending on what happens with that system there that is in the Gulf and just how much moisture it's able to generate there. So here is our 7-day outlook. And as you can see, we don't have a lot of big time changes or fluctuations in those temperatures. Each and every day we start off really with lows there in the mid 70s, and then we top off generally low to mid 90s. We see 92 on Wednesday, 93 Thursday and Friday, and on Saturday. But there are the rain chances Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at about a 30 to 40% chance for showers. Sunday and Monday we're back to 20%, then a 30% chance on Tuesday. But look at the temperatures, 92, 93s, 94s for Sunday and Monday, then up to 95 on Tuesday. So each and every day, it looks like these temperatures are going to be trending above where they should be for this time of year. That average high for this time of year is the 90-degree mark. So here's another look at those temperatures graphically there, where you see that 92, 93, 93, and 94. It doesn't really change that much at all. And of course, there you see the 90-degree temperature there for our average high for this time of year. Let's go back here. I want to take a look at radar before we send you back here at 9:15. I want to just get another look at a couple of these showers. This one up around Ellijay is increasing just a little bit in intensity, but it's not severe or anything. This is right around Cartacay. We've got a bit of a heavier shower there in the middle of Gilmer County. This one right on the Gilmer and Fannin County line just to the south of Higdon. And we're even seeing a little bit of lightning up into just across the state line there between Turtletown and Ivy Log. We have just one lone lightning strike there with that. But just a couple of those showers in parts of North Georgia. A couple in northeast Georgia, up 85 into parts of Franklin County, heading up toward Lake Hartwell, there near the Georgia-South Carolina line. And then this down here that we were watching a little bit earlier, there's another lightning strike that just developed there in western Paulding County, northern Paulding County, north of Dallas. There's that cell there that's causing just a couple of showers, but not really anything going on here in Atlanta right now. We are dry, and of course, we hope to stay dry. I'm going to take you in tight here to Truist Park, and you can see right here is Truist, and we had a little cell that moved over there earlier today, but it was really just a few raindrops and a few sprinkles, so nothing really major out there for that at all. So again, I'll leave you with a 7-day outlook where it looks pretty similar each and every day, just some gradual fluctuations in those rain chances. Low rain chances Wednesday, then 30% Thursday, 40% Friday, back to 30, then 20 heading into the weekend. So thank you for joining us for this extended live weather update here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. We'll have more updates for you throughout the morning as we're watching any rain chances here, as well as that system in the Gulf.